Hey everyone, Chef Mark here, and I'm back in the laboratory to answer a question I get all the time. I can't believe I've never made a video about it before. And it's what do I prefer in cookware? Today I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of stainless steel cookware versus cast iron cookware. Which do I prefer and why? Let's get started. Surprise might answer some of you, but I prefer stainless steel pans. And I'll tell you why. In a professional restaurant, typically the pans are aluminum, they're cast aluminum. That's because they're inexpensive. A cast aluminum pan you can get for $10, maybe $15. And why would a high-end restaurant use such an inexpensive piece of cookware? Well, I'll tell you why. In a professional restaurant, we need dozens and dozens and dozens of pans and several sizes of each one of those to be able to keep up with a standard saute station in a busy restaurant. Everything is cooked to order, so if you order shrimp and scallop linguine, that's certainly going to need at least one saute pan to saute the seafood and get the concassé tomatoes in there, and the garlic, and the shallots, the basil, and toss the pasta. But if you have a saute item that's a little bit more complicated, that requires 2 or 3 saute pans, and you get 3 or 4 orders, you might have 12 pans just for 1 or 2 tickets in the professional kitchen. So you need a lot of cookware. So the cast aluminum pans, they don't work as well as stainless pans, but quite frankly, as a cook in a professional restaurant, you get used to them because, well, it's what you have. But I love stainless steel because a good high quality stainless steel pan, of which this is, you see it has a nice thick base here, they don't warp, they heat up very evenly, they handle a lot of abuse, and here's a little secret. A cast iron pan, when preheated properly, is naturally nonstick. Before I move on, have you hit the subscribe button? Oh wait. Thanks. To a cast iron pan. Well, to be honest with you, these aren't as common in the majority of restaurants. I'm sure some restaurants out there use them as their only cookware, and that's great if you can keep up on the maintenance, but therein lies the rub. They require a lot of maintenance, as you probably know. You can't leave them soaking in a sink overnight. They can rust. You can see I have some corrosion on the back of this one. And they really require a lot of care, which in a busy restaurant, I've never worked at a place that had the bandwidth to really care for cast iron. It's also much heavier, so whereas I can stack up 2 or 3 of these big saute pans and picking them up and move them around the kitchen, these are heavy and relatively delicate. These handles snap off, these handles can break, they can crack. So when you're looking at the cost of each one, the amount of maintenance it requires, and the fact that they're relatively fragile compared to a cast aluminum or stainless steel pan, I would say they tend to be a liability in a commercial restaurant. Now, one of the things people love about cast iron, of course, is that it's naturally non-stick when they're seasoned properly. And I would say, of course that's true, but as I mentioned earlier, when we preheat a saute pan, a stainless steel pan, it's naturally non-stick as well. So what people love about cast iron is they know, hey, if I preheat this, get it nice and hot before I put food in it, I get a nice sear, my food doesn't stick, and it's easy to clean. Well, all of that is true with a high quality stainless steel pan as well. Did you know that? Well, what's right for your kitchen? Honestly, a variety of cookware is fantastic. But I find the mistake that a lot of home cooks make is they have too much variety. So in my home, I have a large pot for pasta, a small pot for pasta, boiling water. I've got 2 saute pans, a large and a small. I have a small sauce pot, and of course I have my cast iron pan, which I don't use that frequently, but typically lives in my camp kit. I only have 4 burners in my stove at home, so I really can't do much more than 4 pans at a time, even if I wanted to. So I reduced the size of my kitchen cookware so that I have more room for other toys in my kitchen. As always, thanks for tuning in, everyone, to the laboratory. This is Chef Mark. Make sure you like, subscribe, and thanks for tuning in.